So this is the second part to WWE Raw, the November 4th, 2024 edition. And so I already kind of recapped the first half of Raw, and so now we're going to get into the other half. And so now we had The Miz, right? Ugh. Yo, poor Miz. Poor Miz. He was talking about Dallas, and he was like, it's not me who you want. You don't want me. You don't want me. You want the final testament. That's who you got to go after. Me and you, we ain't got no beef. And Bo Dallas was like, we wanted you the whole entire time. And The Miz, I feel like The Miz kind of died just a little bit inside. And then they showed like old footage of The Miz talking to Bo Dallas and I think Bray Wyatt when they were like really young, probably like in the start of their career. And so I found that very interesting because it seems like we have history here, and WWE does very well when there's history. So I'm excited to see what that was all about. And now we had the War Raiders versus the New Day. Now let me tell you something. This whole match was about Woods and Kofi Kingston and their friction and if they can coincide and if they're going to be able to win the match. Because what's going to happen if they don't win the match? We've already seen how frustrated Woods is. And let me tell you, Kofi, by the way, I also like that on commentary, they were talking about how the War Raiders had gone through so many things. Like, they had so many injuries, like career-threatening injuries. And they're just happy to be back and to be going after the tag titles. So it's good to hear that because they are a very strong tag team. Like, Ivar can do some amazing things for his size, and so can Eric. Like, so it's very nice to see them again in the spotlight, like I said. But anyway, let's go back to Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. So Kofi Kingston was on a roll. He was on a roll, right? He was gonna hit the Trouble in Paradise, and then Xavier Woods just tagged himself out of nowhere. And apparently this disorientated Kofi so much that he didn't hit the Trouble in Paradise. And then Kofi got taken out, and it gave the War Raiders the opportunity to take out Woods, and Woods is the one who took the pin. It's going to be interesting because I think he's going to blame it on Kofi. He's going to be like, why didn't you just continue doing what you were doing? All I did was tag. So, again, they're trying to plant those seeds. But like I said, I don't believe it. Anyway, moving along, we got to like my favorite segment, Sami Zayn. So Sami Zayn comes out to explain what happened at Crown Jewel between him and Roman Reigns, right? But then Jay comes out. Now remember, I told you guys last week that I'm going to trust that Jay has learned and grown up since the last time that he was in the original Bloodline, because we have seen the growth, right? And so Jay comes out, and the first thing he says is, thank you, Sami Zayn, for having my back. And now let me tell you something. He did not just see the Roman Reigns incident. He looked past that incident and he looked at the bigger picture and realized that Sami was there for him. Growth right there. And then of course Jimmy had to come out to ruin everything and try to manipulate Jay. I told you, Jimmy was never sorry. He was never sorry. And he's trying to gaslight and manipulate Jay, saying that they can't trust Sami. And then Sami stands his ground. He takes out the receipts. He says to Jimmy, I can't be trusted. Aren't you the man who betrayed me? Me and you, Jimmy, were best friends before me and Jay were best friends. And you kicked me in the face. And then not just that, he also mentions how Jimmy betrayed Jay and kicked Jay in the face. And so I loved this segment because Sami told the truth. Not a single lie was told. And then to top it off, Sami was like, I'm out. I do not have to be in this whole entire feud that you guys are in. And then Jay says, I was wrong. family is not just blood, and that Sami Zayn is family, and that he's invited to come to SmackDown. And so SmackDown is going to be very interesting because we're going to have the original bloodline together, and hopefully they can talk some stuff through. Very interesting, very interesting. Loved everything. Saw the growth in Jay. I knew Jay wasn't going to be gasted nor manipulated like he used to be because he's outgrown that phase in his life. Now, after this, we had Chad Gable versus Dragon Lee. I like this little feud that we're getting together here. I like that the LWO is going to be feuding with American Made. I think we can get some really good matches out of here, especially with Chad Gable. You know, he's such a technical wrestler. He's amazing technical wrestler. And he's going to really take the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile under his wing, and he's going to show them a lot of good things. And, you know, you already have Ray, and he has his young talent that he's teaching. And so I like this feud, and I like how this ended because it's the same thing that happened last week. Chad Gable interfered and cost Ray the match. Ray interfered and cost Chad Gable the match. There you go. And so, like I said, we're going to continue this, and it's going to have a lot of matchups. And then after this, we had Damian Priest versus Dom versus Rollins versus Sheamus for the #1 contender match for the WWE title, right? This match was a great match. It was a really good match. I was really happy to see Sheamus in here because I feel like he's kind of been very aimless lately after the whole Butch Pete Dunne feud, and he does deserve to be here. Like, Sheamus is a previous world champion, and he's consistent. He is consistently giving great matches, and you know, seeing him here kind of gave me a little bit of hope, a little bit, just because I remember the bangers that Sheamus and Gunther had on SmackDown for the Intercontinental Championship, and I was just like, we can have that again. It's been a while, and I'm like, we can have that again. But I was happy to see him in this match. Now, who did not see it coming? I saw it coming, but who did not see Bronson Reed getting involved in this match? Everybody did, especially with how their match ended at Crown Jewel. And so even though Seth Rollins is past Bronson Reed, he's beat Bronson Reed said, not today, baby. He interfered. Not only did he interfere, he took Seth Rollins out of this match. He gave him a tsunami on the announce table and just took him out. After that, he didn't have a chance of winning. After that, it was just Dom, Sheamus, and Damian Priest. And let me tell you something. Dom almost stole the match. He almost stole the match. Because when Sheamus and Damian Priest were both down in the ring, Dom hit, I think, a frog splash from the top rope onto Sheamus and almost got the 3 count. But let me tell you, Damian Priest punched him right in the face so that he could stop the count. Right? And so then after this, Damian Priest took control. He took control and he beat Dom. He gave him his finisher and he beat him. I was very surprised that the Judgment Day did not get involved in this match to help Dom, because they have been getting involved in every single match that he's in. Like, I feel like we see them, like in the beginning of Raw, you see the Judgment Day come in and they all have their members. Finn Balor is there, but somehow he's missing from their matches. Like, he shows up maybe once in a while. Sorry for the noise. But anyway, Damian Priest wins. And I think he should have won. We kind of saw this coming. Because we saw the Rhea Ripley talking to Damian Priest and saying, you should go after the title. And he said that he would. It's just the Crown Jewel had to happen first, and then he can go after the title. And so we saw it coming. But like I said, very interesting that the Judgment Day didn't interfere. And it's very interesting with Finn, because in my head, I'm like, yo, if Dom won that match, Finn was going to betray Dom. Because anything with that world title and the Judgment Day and Finn isn't involved is not to his liking. That just seems to be the story. But regardless, it was a very good show. I'm glad that we're moving on with the storylines, and I'm excited. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. Just an amazing time to be a fan.